Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Humankind. I hope everybody's having a good Friday. This episode would have been out a little bit earlier, except I was having a real good Friday, and I am now full of board games and pizza. Definitely the best possible place for my processes to be. You are never sharper than when you are just absolutely stuffed full of freezer pizza. So we have a problem, right? The green is bearing down on us with not necessarily a huge army, although we don't know. There could be a huge army. But certainly an army that is a little terrifying in terms of just raw combat strength. Like, this thing has 29 strength. It's a hilariously high number. It's an absurdly high number. So let's talk about sort of our long-term strategic options. First of all, we're allowed to just surrender. What happens if you just surrender? So they have demands. They feel like we should give them $100 on account of we attack them. And then they also think we should cede them this territory because we're oppressing the faithful. Is this a religion thing? Do they have a religion? How do I hold on, let's go to the religion screen. We have our religion. And I don't see... Okay, yeah, they have Hittites polytheism. Ah, okay, so they established their religion before we did, and so this region has been their religion, and now that the region is being overtaken by our religion, they've turned that into a grievance, and they have pressed that grievance against us. They want us to give up the region. So if I click offer surrender here, you have to add or remove terms from the list below. You must add terms until the winner's war support is consumed. Oh, that's an interesting way of doing that. So they're more likely to take sort of a soft surrender if you can just fight them down a little bit, but this is a way of like systematizing a thing that is basically always the case under the hood in these sorts of games. Like this puts it right out in front of the player. I actually like that a lot. So our two selected terms have a total value of 20. Why does it say total 84? So there's a... It's saying we would give them 640 gold, and that creates another 64 war support. But shouldn't we only have to pass 74? And we're allowed to become their vassal. We're allowed to just tap this. It doesn't let me take the other stuff off of the list, though. We cannot uncheck this, as all of the winning side's original demands must be added as surrender terms before additional surrender terms can be considered. Okay, it's an unusual system. It's definitely way different from the way a lot of other games do this. So it's sort of like a partial casus belli idea, right? Where you go to war over particular terms, and it's not that you need a formalized excuse to go to war, but you do need a formalized excuse to pursue certain types of goals within a war. It's very interesting. Obviously, we're not going to surrender, but I wanted to see what exactly that meant in case the situation spirals out of control and we end up having to surrender. As it is, I don't think we're there quite yet. So their war support is currently 74. They are losing 2 per turn because their war was unjust. They did not have a proper reason to go to war. And then they're losing another 1 from proximity state as attacker. Is that, do you just lose war support every turn for fighting a neighboring player, I guess? But we did, yeah, they're also getting a boost because grievances and whatnot. You know, because I was harassing them constantly for a long time. So if we can win a couple of battles, or at least fight them to a standstill, we can pull their war support down a little bit and maybe get a cheaper surrender, or you know, maybe even drive them to 0. I'm worried that we may not be able to do that, but we're going to find out. So, are we going to step up into the next era? I am not inclined to do so. I was looking at this a little bit, and here's the thing. We're going to get this next turn for 170 fame. We are 2 population points off of the first agrarian star, and that's going to happen in 2 turns. We have a person born in one city next turn, and a person born in the other city the turn after. it feels pretty bad to jump up to the next era when we're really close to stars. Because if we just jump up to the next era every time we hit 7 stars immediately, we're leaving all of these other stars behind in ways that they can never be gained. So we're actually severely limiting the total amount of fame that we can earn. I think we probably want to stick around for like at least 2 more turns in this era. Just pick up these easy stars. We're about to hit 5 of 6 researches for the scientist stars as well, so we might be able to get that going. And we would not immediately benefit from moving up to the next era, right? It would take time to research the things we need for the advanced troops or whatever. So I think for the moment, we're going to try to bear it out like this. I do think we should hire this army. Like, archers only have 16 combat strength and obviously are going to be pretty not ideal here in terms of damage output, but they are doing unanswered damage at the very least. And then the spearmen might actually be useful. They have cavalry. I don't remember exactly how big the bonus combat strength buff is for fighting cavalry, but I think this is maybe going to be a really good start. So 20 turns we get, and they're already exhausted this turn. So yeah, that finishes building, and then we get bronze work at the same turn, so we start building over the copper, and then spears, right? So we are looking at probably moving up into the next era soon. Oh hey, we got that agrarian star. Something must have changed in our rate of population production, because I definitely had just looked at that. Okay, they're bringing up a whole cavalry force. Yep, a whole bunch of those unique units of theirs, which is not probably a big surprise. Of course they have them. Sorry, we're on the way. Oh, Everest is about to get its population. Huh, okay, yeah. Did we have 2 points of population get born in the other city last turn? I don't know. I don't know what happened. So we are definitely, like I said, interested in obtaining copper. And we can almost just buy that out. It's a shame we can't. Then once we have the copper, we're building a 22 strength anti-cavalry unit that gets bonus damage when standing in a friendly district. Actually, should we build a garrison? Could we rush a garrison out? So what is it? It gives bonus combat strength to combat units in or adjacent, and it also gives fortification. So we can use this mountain here to put this thing down in a position where enemies have to be moving into it. I don't love that this is going to break 2 food and 2 industry off of the city. But honestly, I really like it here because enemies have to approach it to get around the mountains. So we're guaranteed to be able to fight them in our powerful spaces. So how long would that take if we really focused on it? 6 turns is extremely untenable. Man, it's going to be very expensive to buy out as well. Well, I'm gonna stay on it for the moment. So, you're all just scouts. My suspicion is that our enemy has the ability to use units as reinforcements, based on the combat strength preview we're seeing there. That is not a thing that is unlocked by default. It comes from, organized warfare, which I kind of feel like is the next thing we should grab. We could get masonry. So the barracks doesn't really help very much. Obviously, battering rams are pretty irrelevant to our defensive purposes. But being able to bring in additional units as reinforcements is very powerful. That is for sure. And that technology, if we finish it, will give us another star. Should we just move up at this point? Since we got the 2 that we were really close to? I mean, I want this. It's going to be over 100 fame still by the time we get to it. At least at the rate that it's been declining there. Yeah. And I think for right now, my move is to just stand behind the river so that if they have to attack us, they're standing in the river to do so. And continuing to run up our defenders. Man, I sure wish I had way more money. All right, we continue to have population. The people of Alioth have converted to proper shamanism. Okay. A lot of notifications. So our city is being besieged. We have all of these levies. They have a battering ram that they are constructing, which presumably will allow them to ignore our thing. And they are all about... They're 100% all about these horse units. So I can't move in here because the city is under siege. Well, we can run out there and try to break their attack. Or, obviously, we could just abandon the city. Probably not the move. If I hit Endure, will that let me bring in these... Nope, still can't even enter the area that the combat's going to occur in. So, enduring a siege is the default choice if you pass the turn while being besieged. However, subject to technologies, traits, and the attacker's units, you lose approximately 1 militia every turn, and the attacker will progressively construct their siege weapons. This option could be a good choice if an army can reinforce your besieged city and help break the siege. Once the army joins the siege, you can launch a sortie. If you can't do anything, you can always surrender the city. So, we do not, at the moment, have the ability for an army to reinforce the city, and it's going to take 4 turns for us to get that ability. So... God. It's wild how powerful they are. What are we going to do about this? I mean, just sitting here and waiting is not going to help. Let's fight them now while we are relatively strong. We're only going to get weaker over time, right? So they do have a flag. So do we want to stand in the fortification zones? Or do we want to back up and make them have to fight us in the river? Fortification gives, what was it, +6 combat strength, I think, right? I think that's what we saw last time. So probably we want to stay in the fort. Yeah, it's not ideal, but... So we can try to set up some of those flanking attacks. Or alternatively, we can not attack. We just try to get to their flag, I suppose. So if I moved you to here, you'd still be on the river. We do have bonus combat strength from sitting in the friendly district, but boy, it is not helping. And obviously that bonus combat strength for being in a fortified space probably only applies when defending, right? So basically, yeah, we can't really attack them. I'm gonna try something here. I am not, in fact, going to attack, because to do so would be absolutely brutal. But I am actually, I'm going to see about the flag here, because we have seen the enemy do a pretty poor job of defending their flag in the past. It looks like they've smartened up a little bit. And yeah, all of their units are able to one-shot all of my units, so it's going well. Maybe they'll forget to kill this guy? So we fall back to the fortress. Nope, they fell back to their flag. Well, the good news is they're having trouble actually breaking through the fortification part of the battle. The combat odds are a little bit worse. Okay. Siege of Babylon going pretty splendidly for them. We cannot do that while the city is besieged. In fact, we cannot do anything while the city is besieged. So that's 180 industry. This was a third of that. The money to industry conversion is really bad. It's like horrifically bad. I feel like I should be able to use my actual army to, you know, move up and do stuff. It does seem very strange to me that, like, even if they can't participate in the battle, they just cease to exist if they're anywhere near a battle. Sort of the opposite of what should be happening, right? Because they're not interested in reinforcing, they are less affected by the presence of a nearby battle, you would think. Alright, so building one of these guys, yep, it's going to be $1 billion and or turns, but boy oh boy do we need them. And you know, having one or two of them might actually turn things around for us. Yep. They do seem remarkably reluctant to attack while we're in the fortification. They just figured the math is really bad. But they can't win a battle without attacking us, right? You lost the siege at Babylon by... In what way, though? I guess I sorted out. I was the attacker, so that needed to be resolved by me actually defeating them. That's why they were playing defensively, because in a very particular way of looking at it, I was the attacker. Okay, fair enough. I did press that button. So... yeah, I really need to be able to use my actual units. I think that would help a lot. City continues to grow. Population's getting populated. Nope. I'm just gonna not do anything. If they let me have long enough that I'm allowed to start bringing in reinforcements, it'll help. And they don't seem to be in any real hurry. And then once we get this technology done, we'll talk about moving to the next era. Because this is a pretty valuable star. Yeah, I think they wanna wait until they've worn us down completely. So next turn we'll probably be able to buy this guy out, right? Another third of the cost is gonna come off. And also next turn, we're allowed to use reinforcements. So hopefully I can actually like move my armies around in my thing now. I'm being plundered. What? Who dares? Okay. Boy, do I not have time or interest in you. So now, all of a sudden, we have an army that's capable of fighting back because we have reinforcements. I'm going to have the mercenary reinforcements. Can I change the order of these? It looks like no. I wonder if it's proximity based. Drag and drop to define a starting order is what it says. Select the plus to deploy your units. Drag and drop to define a starting. Yeah, I cannot drag or drop anything. If I turn off auto select, nope. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we want to be deploying as quickly as we can. So it would take them one more turn to finish building their RAM. Now that we have the ability to reinforce, we should definitely sortie, right? We should get in here. Hold on a second. We have enactable civics, do we? Apparently our empire's foundation has been created, and this has given us 2 civics choices. So, by what rights do we rule? We could rule by natural right or by divine mandate. Natural right pushes us closer to bonus science, which I am excited about. This moves us back to the middle here. And also, plus faith on holy site. Like, I definitely want influence on main plaza over that. And then also this. What style of laws does the Empire use? Customary laws based on historical precedent and tradition, or codified laws, which will be debated, classified, and codified for perpetuity. So this lowers the cost of doing some stuff. You know, this one here is a little bit less pressing. Like, this is not going to have an effect on us immediately. We might want to save some influence, because we still were planning on integrating these people, right? Oh, I see the cost of that has jumped way back up. For reasons I'm not entirely clear on. But okay, we'll get there. Alright, let's do this. Let's manually battle. Okay, so we have now some real units here. Okay, so this is gonna come in as reinforcements over the course of the first like turn or two. All right, so I do think I want to move you up, and then we've got our little levies. Okay, how about that? All of a sudden, I have like real units. So the anti-cavalry bonus is +5. Okay, that's pretty significant. So we know they're going to come in. Their reinforcements are planning to come in on these tiles. I'm not 100% clear on what happens if we block those. Is that a thing I can do? Can I just send like the less developed units to stand on those tiles? It does seem like we have perhaps done a thing. What if you just don't let their reinforcements come in? Do some guarding. Okay. So we need to provide flanking options for the spears. This is still pretty bad, but we can't get into a better position. Right, because are you going to be able to... Alright, can the spearmen make it to here? Alright, from here we don't have a... From here we don't have a river penalty. We just actually have even combat strength. But also, we do own archers. Like, what if I just run all the way over here to the fortified city and then shoot you for a small amount of damage? All right, a little bit on the low side of the 5 to 25 split, but it helps. So move you into here for maximum friendly unit bonus, and we are actually managing to pass the combat strength of their units here. So get some decent damage in there. It's still probably not a good idea to have you attack. You guys just stand around in defensive stance so that they take a little bit more damage when pushing you, and then if they don't manage to do something about my positioning here, I actually can just stand on their flag. Okay, well, they just rode straight the hell through my guy there. Seems like a pretty solid plan on their part. But we now have an awful lot of mobility. So let's see. If I stand you here, you can shoot that guy almost to death, and then the spears finish him off pretty easily. And that means... Okay. That's a victory. We lost a unit. They lost a unit. That has increased our war support and has probably decreased their war support, and it's besieged my city.
Friend, I trust you are well.
So yeah, they're losing 11 points of war support this turn in total, which is good. Our war support's going to stay nice and high. But unfortunately, ours doesn't really matter that much. I mean, if ours got low, it would be very bad. Our people would probably start demanding our surrender, and if we didn't surrender, I bet bad things would happen. That is a unit of, or an army of 4 units. It is 4 Hunnic hordes. Can move until all movement points are depleted, ignoring zones of control. So it's a 28 strength unit, and it's a ranged unit with 1 attack range. Am I interpreting that correctly? Do you show as having... Oh, you also show as having 1 range, but your card specifically says you're melee, and this one doesn't. So I'm assuming there's no retaliation damage when these guys attack, which obviously is a problem for me. Are you purchasable? You totally are. I'm gonna need your help. You buy in with no movement points available though. Yeah, and we still got to get across the river. Okay, it's gonna be a minute. Well, we managed to drive them off once. Maybe we can hold them back a little bit longer. So, as things stand right now, we would have to wait 3 turns to get this star. We'd be very close in 2, but close is not quite good enough. Yeah, we need 90 points. Unless we could gain a little bit of influence. It is the 3rd athlete star, so it's worth a lot of points. Yeah, all right. Maybe we do wait. The third star of a type is very high value. And then we'll jump on to the next one. So we can't research stuff in this area yet, right? Oh no, that's right. We can because we are currently a science faction. So we get bonus forward movement. Would I rather have something else? We could make chariots if we had the resources. Writing gives us the ability to mess with our civics and yeah, some basic science stuff. I mean, it's not bad. Oh, you know, we definitely wanted masonry because stoneworks is actually really, really good for us. Yeah, let's grab that quickly. Hold on a second. I just realized I queued those technologies. Fortifications is not first. All right, I have concerns. I have a lot of concerns. And what do you want to do? Do you want to try to get an astronomy house down real fast before we have the opportunity to lose it? I do kind of want to reach over the river with this. All right, because we're not going to be able to build these anymore once we've moved on to the next era. So I'm gonna try to get that one done as quickly as possible. Is this city? It is not, in fact, very focused. We are industry focused here, right? No, it's moving my people around without asking me. Please get this done as quickly as possible. It's not going to be quick enough still. Yeah, boy, how are we going to fight a unit of 4 Hunnic hordes? Or an army of 4? I mean, we have to attack first, right? Initiative against an army like this is going to be so tremendously important. Okay, we have received an event, which is maybe not my primary concern at this moment. Alright, and they've started a new siege that is worse. A melody for every occasion. In the teeming, iconic city of Babylon, musicians are a celebrated part of the local culture with a long history in holy rites. They bring nobility to religious rituals, jollity to palace celebrations, smiles to the sick and ailing, courage to marching armies, and distraction to the gods. That's a pretty powerful musician. Alas, they are still too small in number, especially the good ones. And now word of their renown has reached across the empire. Lords, priests, commanders, among others, are grousing that their city deserves such artists too. How will you satisfy them? So we can muster up some street musicians and send them elsewhere to lower science but gain money. Or every city will be required to build an institution of music where we can teach new performers. So it'll make our cities overproductive for 10 turns. It's going to cost all of our money, but honestly, I think it's probably pretty good, actually. So while you're negative on money, you lose stability, but we're not even going to be negative on money for the start of 1 turn, so I think we're probably okay. And this is an attack. So they're bringing in their 4 units. Yeah, I kind of feel like we got to retreat here. Retreating is just going to give them more war score, which I don't love. But if we let them go first, they get to attack with all 4 of these things, and that's just going to kill us, right? Unfortunately, we can't attack either. Now, see, that's interesting. Why is this showing up as a 29-point battle? Well, that's a 163. Because the Hunnic Horde should still be able to participate in this, right? I mean, if this is actually a battle I can win, I do want to take it. But yeah, it looks like the space the Hunnic Hordes are in should be allowed to participate, but they fade out on the map. And I'm not 100% sure why. Oh, it is such a bummer. We're close. We're close to being part of the battle. If only we could get this finished. Alright, who has movement that we haven't spent? I don't really want to... I'm so nervous that this is going to turn out the way I think it's going to turn out. But the game is trying to tell us different. Alright, I'm going to go for it. Do they get to use their reinforcements? Yes. So yeah, okay, the game just is a little dishonest with you sometimes, is all. Well, we know where they're going to come in, so we can try to do some reinforcement blocking here. We can also just take their flag right away. It's totally an option. Seems like reinforcement blocking is maybe like a critical part of the game. Alright, your flag is mine. Your reinforcement tile is mine. And then I don't really want to have to fight you. So I'm going to come down here. We definitely don't want to give them an attack from high ground onto us. So we'll fall back away from the raise there. Okay, so our units are taking damage from blocking the tile, but it looks like it's just going to let me do that. You know, it's just like Into the Breach. I mean, I have the flag. You have to come in here. Okay, they did do it. They did come in here. Let's go. So now you're standing in the river. Ah, but I can't get a good flank no matter how I do this. All right, but a victory for me technically. Yeah, they did misrepresent our battle position slightly. Technical victories are the best kind, though, right?
Greetings.
Look at that. War support absolutely plummeting, except for that part where I retreated, which they thought was pretty great, actually. Now, you've run a little far north there, I believe. I don't know if that was smart. Well, I think we're gonna just dash at this dude at the beginning of the turn here. He's far enough north that he's not getting reinforced here. Maybe we can drive him back. We just have to we have to win just enough decisive battles. And again, I really want to underline how much I think this system with the war support and like trying to reduce the numbers and stuff. How much this feels like it's just exposing what is happening under the hood in every 4X game, right? You win 3 battles against the AI, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I'll take a surrender. But if they win 1 battle at any point during that, they're in on the war for another 10 turns. Like, this is definitely what is already happening. Okay, so we're just going to hit end turn here, and we're going to run at them at full speed. Go as fast as you can for maximum killing. Okay. So, wait a minute. What happened to my reinforcement? We have a unit. I mean, we should win this fight. Yeah, I'm fine deploying here. They attacked me. I ran over to them and they actually executed the attack action on me. Well, I'm surprised by that. I'm also good at fighting them. So does that mean I'm allowed to launch an attack here? Because my unit is not considered to have attacked this turn. That actually works out very poorly for them. They should have let me. They should have let me lead. Once again, Are we not allowed to be reinforced? No, we're totally allowed to be reinforced by these units. Oh, maybe it's because they still have the retreating tag? Yeah, I guess it must be. Huh. All right. Well, this is a little concerning. I'm going to be honest with you. So obviously, we have to be very careful. No, actually, we don't even have to be very careful. There's no way for me to stand in a position where they don't get an attack from high ground on me. Well... I'm going to step over here, and there's no sense in attacking. Alright, I was hoping that they would choose not to defend their flag. Turns out they're smarter than that. Okay, but now we can stand here where they don't get a high ground. At least take slightly more even casualties. And this attack will guaranteed kill my unit and guaranteed not kill their unit. But we got to get through these things, right? Actually, the battle was a draw. I did kill their unit. Weird. Okay, so you are retreating. It doesn't say that they can't serve as reinforcements, but, you know, there are effects from this, so... Alright. This is a battle where we do have to retreat. So, yeah, that's going to be... war score for them. So we'll finish this thing up. We'll get that athlete star, and then we'll jump up an era here. Yep, and neutrals are ransacking me. What a bunch of assholes. So the war score is kind of bouncing back and forth, but it is generally trending downward. We are doing more damage to their hunger for battle than they are doing to ours, for sure. Or that they are doing to stoke theirs. We also could, if we destroy one more military unit, is that the third battle star? It is. That'd be worth a lot of fame. If we just get one more kill. Well, you can only, damn it. I was going to try to merge those armies, but the pop-ups. You can only change civilizations at the end of the turn, so we do have this turn to try to figure out killing one guy before we potentially move up. We're about to actually have our fortification, and then as soon as that's done, we're building another one of these dudes. Put it in the queue. Okay. This is tough. We're hanging on, but it's costly for sure. So we are allowed to retreat again. This army did get its retreat back. And I mean, losing a battle is worse for your is going to give them more war score than us retreating is, so we will in fact drop back. And you're gonna lose retreating before next turn. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to stand right here and just block for them. If green is content to pursue my units instead of attacking the city, I think that's actually good for us, and we should let them do that. We could hit the assimilate button here. I don't know if we'll... I don't think we will get their combat units. I think we just get the city. And obviously, that's a problem because we'll be over city cap. But there's some value as well. The extra resources will certainly be helpful. Maybe we should do it just to see how bad the effect of being over city cap is. And if it did give us the military units, that'd be mighty helpful. I can't imagine, though. All right, I'm going to press it. Let's see what happens. Okay, yep, it's the military units just leave. They are not willing to serve the new masters. Your empire suffers a penalty of 30 influence per turn. That's the cost. Okay, that's not so bad. Probably gonna turn a lot of population into warriors here in the next little bit. So this army, yep, they're still gonna disappear in 11 turns. I don't know where they're gonna go, but they are still gonna disappear. So we're not terribly likely to be able to get a kill soon. I don't think I'm going to wait on the third military star, just because I have no idea how long it's going to take us to get it. I think we're going to go ahead and move up. And do we want to move up to the Romans? The Goths just had... Oh no, the Goths were not just raw. Wasn't there someone whose bonus was just like +1 combat strength? Maybe that was in the previous era, or maybe I'm imagining it. Yeah, so I don't think Nimble Pillage is necessarily appropriate. Gothic Cavalry, not too good for us. Praetorian Guards seem, you know, real powerful, but probably not easy for us to build. The Greek Hoplites. A 28 strength anti-cavalry unit that comes from a technology that we're just about to reach. Yeah, the Hoplite's good. The Amphitheatron is potentially cool. It's not really that good now. This is definitely a long game play, but yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's adopt Greek culture for the next era. I think that military unit is going to be really helpful if we can survive to produce the damn thing. And I'm going to blow your mind here and start going for standing army. Seems like it might be relevant. It is unfortunately really slow. So are we just buying time? Is that my whole brilliant plan? Huh, why did they get +5 from a grievance triggered? What did I do? Stole my independent people. The AI will get mad about anything. Now, granted, if they had done that to me, I'd be mad about it. But that's different somehow? Question mark? Yeah, go ahead and block for them. And, yeah. We're going to need units. So, will the construction I'm putting into this... No, we'll maintain access to our unique military units, I'm pretty sure. Also, in case you're wondering what this is, I'm pretty sure it's just a graphical glitch. It's just the flag from that one battle against green, the first one, never really despawned. And with that, I think we are done for the turn. This army is very difficult to deal with for right now, but we're working on it. We're getting there.
As urban centers grow, both ideas and sewage are generated at a record pace. Arts and sciences flourish as military tactics and mathematical equations become as coveted as physical goods. Empires struggle to control these intangibles, however, as some might trouble their stability.
I have no idea what he's talking about. So, like I said, a lot of our buildings are going to sort of update their looks, but the main structure in our unique district from our previous culture maintains its appearance. So we get that sort of piecemeal culture thing. The Huns now feel differently about you. In what way? They are hate-filled. Kind of goes without saying.
Speak.
You can just hold on a damn second. What is this? A melody for every occasion. Creating an institution dedicated to music in every city was an excellent idea. Thank you. I thought so as well. Performers produce refined, delicate compositions, and many pay for the privilege to hear them play. Music is a serious, artful practice carried out by trained adepts. The strict classical music culture is well established. Cool. Got a little bit of that old euphony. So, how are we doing on score right now? Honestly, it's not so bad. We're like 900 points behind the leader, who, by the way, already has 7 stars in the era. I'm getting a little nervous. Alright, so they're running up some less powerful units. I wonder if they sort of, like, blew a lot of their construction resources already. So yeah, we definitely need to finish these. And then, like, I think there is an open question as to how important it is to focus on science in this moment. Like, if we can get the research time down on this technology, probably need to keep you on industry. Well, you're producing so slowly. What if we do this? Will it change the number of turns? It will not. Okay. Yeah, because the sooner we have access to the better quality spearmen, obviously, the better we'll be. They're going to have a really hard time overcoming a unit that gets a +5 strength bonus against all of their stuff and also has a base strength that is actually comparable to their stuff. And yeah, we're just going to retreat this army. That's the whole reason we moved in like that, was so that they wouldn't be able to attack this army again on that turn. And then we're going to do the same thing here. And just block so that they can't pursue and run that army down. A very annoying strategy, I'm sure. I wouldn't want to be on the other side of it. So now that we've entered a new era, of course, we get dealt a new set of stars with requirements based on our previous values and stuff. We were moving through the aesthetics pretty quickly. Obviously, we're desperately trying to get a little bit more research going. Although I think we built a lot of science structures in the first era. A lot more than I think I have in previous games. So hopefully that'll help. At some point, we met Yellow. But they don't know about me. Apparently we must have seen one of their units, but they didn't see us. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Greetings, Sovereign.
He looks a little sullen, maybe.
No limit to how high humanity might soar.
So both traitorous and vindictive. Very strong.
Greetings
Very strong
from me and my
combination.
people.
+5 influence on commons quarters. They favor ideological positions least taken by other empires. Well, let's offer to let them trade our luxuries. Would you like access to my luxuries?
What do you say to this?
Okay,
appealing proposal?
cool. Now, there's nothing we can do to make them buy access, but maybe they'll just
This is
decide
good
to do
for
it.
us.
Because boy, I sure could use the money. Yeah, the good news is, as long as they're continuing to pursue our armies around generating war support, we're not taking any, there's no threat to our cities, but obviously, we need to get this war over with at some point. For the moment, we can buy time. Oh no, I've been ransacked. Yeah, they are bringing more stuff up. Although again, it's weaker stuff. The world, as it ever was, is divided into the rulers and the ruled. Great sprawling empires and proud independent cities. Your struggle is with the other empires, but you should not forget the part these free cities can play. Well, I mean, they can play a definite part in my empire. So I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to say, yeah, we're taking everything over and get +1 city cap, because I know some of the civics do give plus city cap. So how should we use other peoples? We could take them on as mercenary armies, which lowers the cost of hiring, or we can assimilate them properly, which lowers the cost of, assimilating. So doing this thing pushes us toward plus food per alliance. Doing this thing pushes us back to stability, and cannot be done anyway. We do not have the influence for that. Some player has become known as a traitor. Seems to be very common among the AI. So, I mean, obviously, here, we're going to retreat. We do not get to control where they run to, though. Oh, please. Please run over and attack those guys. Just make my life a little bit easier. I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to lose this army, though. I can't really do anything to protect them. Yeah, That is a shame. That's a real goofy direction for them to retreat in.
It's always so excruciating to hear from you.
So if we can even just grind this to a standstill, get into a position where they cannot force a retreat out of us every turn, then we can just wait and they will bleed off all of their war support. Obviously, I'd prefer to bleed it out of them in a slightly different way. So you're going to finish that. We probably will not be able to buy this out next turn. Yeah, all right. It's not ideal. Can I get you to... Nope. Damn independent People's Army just ran right in front of me. All right, let's definitely merge you up. Oh, and that costs all of my movement because I moved that guy onto a river tile. Well, that's fine. So that is a battle that we will have to deal with soon. Avarice is actually really productive. The outpost in the mountains is totally working. All right, this is not really what I want to be doing. So what are we up against? Archer. Okay. Well, I don't think we've got a very fancy play available here. I didn't realize that they were on the attack. I thought we moved into them. Alright, so move you over here so you're not adjacent to anything, and then we will rain arrows down. I'm considered to have no line of sight on these guys, which completely negates our high ground bonus. These ones I kind of understand. Here we absolutely should have... The rules for line of sight must be very strange, because you would think we'd be able to see through this hex. Alright, well I don't know why they both chose to move adjacent to my spearmen before attacking, but in general I would say that that is not a good move. So if I stand here, am I still no line of sight? Yeah, alright, well... is what it is, I suppose. Moving down onto the low ground to gain line of sight would not actually be very helpful. Alright, so we took a bunch of damage there, but we did get militarist star progress. It was actually very easy to get that first one. Alright, unfortunately, now our army gets attacked, but we're allowed to retreat. Maybe... So this army just retreated last turn. I wonder if it's like participating in a battle in which you don't run away, like causes you to lose the retreat modifier, maybe? Well, I'm definitely gonna retreat again. Oh hey, iron. Now that we are developed enough, we know what that is. Oh right, yeah, unfortunately the slowdown. Well, no, even with the reduced movement capacity, we should still be able to jump these guys. Oh, am I not allowed to attack either? It doesn't actually say that on the tooltip here. We'll see. Maybe I am allowed to do it on the next turn. Maybe what they mean when they say cannot be done by a retreating army in this case is that because our army made a partial retreat move this turn, it can't attack. Let's hope, right? It sure would be nice if that was what was going on. Okay. So we are, in fact, going to try to just move here as quickly as possible and see if we can't... Oh, nope, they fled. Cowardice. The last of their line. A troubling truth has emerged regarding the great stable megalopolis of Sus. Many servants from the city's palace have been castrated at the command of the local ruler. These eunuchs are believed to be more loyal, and they are said to play a number of roles, from courtier to singer to guard. What is your view on this matter? My view is that we should probably try to not... Don't castrate people against their will. That's my view. Hot takes here. So we can adopt this progress, or this policy, and move our bar back toward tradition. That would give us the locked down trait on Babylon. Doesn't seem that good. We could punish them and get a forced labor bonus on... Sort of think we're in this place. Yeah, I think it's necessary. So, interesting. They did not chase us with the big army, but they came down here with one Gigir. We might actually be able to do that. And then, yeah, their big terrifying armies up here being a pain in my ass in a different way. Well, let's try this. We can't retreat, obviously, so... So they're going to place somewhere in here after we make our position. I am inclined to just play down here on the flat ground. I don't love that position, obviously. But yeah, the way everything is stepped down here, like every tile is adjacent to a higher tile. Yeah, that really sucks. Oh. Curious. Well, I'm on defense. They have to come at me if they want to do this. So if they want to move toward the flag, we'll make something happen here. Are they going to move on to it? Nope. I thought they wouldn't be able to do that on account of zone of control, but I guess the is part of being cavalry. Nope, interesting. Because moving into a space in someone's zone of control usually stops us. Do I even want to do this attack? I don't think I do. If they attack us, we get the fortification bonus, so we'll be much higher combat strength, which is to say I do not think they will attack us. You know, it may be that the moving into a zone of control doesn't stop you, it just dramatically increases your movement costs, so I guess they just had enough movement left. I was expecting them not to. It does not increase it dramatically enough for our taste. So... they have their cavalry coming in as reinforcements. I do not want to be attacked by that army. If we could attack in that same position, it would be perfectly viable. But us being attacked by that whole army coming in as reinforcements on the first turn, that's going to kill us. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to stop them from performing that same attack next turn. We can run up here on the cliff real fast at the beginning of the turn and hope they don't have the movement to follow, or that they lose sight of us or something, because like you can see, we're right here and we can't even see that tile. It would be very helpful. You need, sadly, too much money to get bought out. Alright, well, we're not really making a lot of progress anymore. We were doing okay at the beginning of the war, I feel like, with actually bringing down their war support every turn. All right, I need to get to launch the attack myself. Oh my god. It is more than a little frustrating, the way that the minor factions are completely ignoring green. So if they get on the flag, we have high ground advantage against them. I'm just going to defend. Okay. So yeah, we step up onto the high ground because the river penalty is -3, but the high ground penalty, the high ground gain is +4, right? So we will actually have the same combat strength.
Off we go.
Yeah. Which makes this a good attack. Except that there's a die roll in the attack thing, and it completely doomed us. That attack should have been roughly even. Their maximum damage taken was way higher than our maximum damage taken, and we did 14 damage to them. We basically, I think we did minimum damage while they did maximum damage. Dear game developers, please remove the randomness from the attacks. You know, combat being deterministic is fine. It's totally fine, I swear. So do we just hurl ourselves at them?
Over this way.
I think we do, right? Like, wait, I didn't get to attack. Oh, right, because that unit has suppression. Okay, well, that's not the worst possible outcome, honestly. This unit still being alive is worth something. It is a lost battle, which means tons of war support for them. And now I have to fight some assholes who are waiting for an opportunity to attack me without threatening green at all. And we don't really get to know anything about their positions, so I guess I would like to... No. I wanted to swap you down there. Okay. Alright, you probably just want to fall back. Let this guy come up. Okay. Yeah, at least they're cavalry, right?
Off we go.
We'll try to stay close to continue to provide morale. This thing is exerting zone of control up the cliff face, which is kind of annoying. Alright, I didn't really want that unit to be wounded, but I guess we're working towards some veterancy, right? And we did, in fact, lose the retreating status. I have no idea where their other army is. Oh, I really wish I could buy this guy out this turn. That would be so nice. As much as I want to build that, I think we probably have to... We're not quite out of the woods yet. We're getting closer, though. We are breaking down their forces in our lands, at least. So wait, we actually have vision of all of those tiles. Yeah, I can actually... Okay, I can see that their reinforcements are not present. So we should definitely try to have at them. Do I want to put you way up front like that? Not actually sure how I want to position for this. No, I guess I am. Yeah, I want to kind of offer up... I want to offer them the opportunity to walk in here and get an attack down the hill. Because I think that they are foolish enough to take that, and then we will collapse in on them. Oh, that's right. I attacked them. Can you make it to the flag? You can. But the flag is on a river tile. Can you make it to the flag? Okay, that's your job. Now, obviously, this attack is not ideal. If I run over to here, I'm providing a flank attack for these guys, but I think it's pretty bad still. Because they're damaged and their base combat strength is low enough. Yeah, 13 versus a 23. That I honestly might just have you... Like, I'm halfway between... have you hang out and run down here. Another thing I could do... You know what? I'm going to put them right here as bait. Let's see if the AI will go for the bait. Nope. They want to, like, win the battle. Bunch of jerks. Alright, well, we're just going to have to bleed for it. Can we... There's no point in taking a low ground position to get the flank. So what I should probably do here is this. Step you up onto the hill. Just a little bit of bonus combat strength. 17 and 55, sure. Yeah, let's sacrifice that unit to make them too weak to fight the spears. And they will just run away to fight another day. But they lose the battle. I get it. I think this is a smart move on their part. Just preserve the unit. It is a victory for us, but they come out of it in pretty good shape. Now, they're not going to be healing because they're not in their own territory, and we are going to be healing. So that's definitely something in our favor. And this guy is going to come out of the city next turn. This is showing infinite, but obviously that's just because there was a battle on top of it. Enough work will get done on him that we'll be able to buy him out next turn. And then we got more people filling in over here. Yeah, I think we're doing this. I think we're kind of coming through this. There's still that army of Hunnic archers that I don't really know how we're going to solve. But yeah, I think we're kind of stabilizing. Let's do one more turn here. So we'll defend this dude. Oh, that guy just... I didn't even have to buy him out. He actually did finish. Okay, so we're starting to have armies of actual functional... Why did you... Instead of doing this move, just moving up and to the left, you walked all the way around and then joined them from that side. That's weird. So we are burning a lot of population to form army, but also, I do think we have to. Ah, they're putting up an outpost. That's what they did with their Hunnic archers. Well, I mean, we can obviously undo that pretty easily. Oh, right, I can't fold the rented dude into a proper army. Okay, well, next turn we'll have 2 of those up, so yeah, I think at the risk of maybe sounding overconfident, I think we've kind of stabilized here. We're still, like, obviously way behind. We're making good progress on the second one of these. We're 1 turn off of having access to some cool new stuff like hoplites. And hoplites might be a direct upgrade from our current unit, which means we may be able to just purchase the upgrade. Right, there's a button for that. Yeah. So we'll see what that ends up actually costing us, but we may be able to just jump these units up to 29 combat strength, and then it will be much easier to repel these enemies. All right. Are we winning the war? I don't know. We're not losing the war by a lot. That's something, at least. So I think that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching and for your patience, as this was a mighty late episode. When you come back next time, tomorrow, hopefully we're going to put what's left of this green expeditionary force in the ground and then, I don't know, press on green or maybe just like beg them to stop with the war so that I can focus on other more important things. And we'll see you then.